Mindshare Precedes Marketshare. So Grant Cardone has a famous saying. It says that your biggest problem is anonymity. Your biggest problem is that nobody knows about you. So in a world of information, in an information society, attention is the scarcest resource. And if you have a great value proposition that nobody knows about, it's like you don't exist. It's like if a tree falls in the forest, but nobody's around to hear it. So did it really happen? I mean, that's debatable, but so how do you break through to attention? So there's two kinds of marketing. There's internal marketing and external marketing. Internal marketing is quality, and quality is job one. So don't even think about external marketing until you have the culture and the team and the processes and the product development and the lean iteration, to make sure that you have a sustainable competitive advantage, because like they say, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. And if you bring a lot of people in, but your products are not good, or if your products are good but you can't handle the demand, when things start to break down, or you can't iterate fast enough to keep your customers. It's one thing to get a customer, it's another thing to keep them. So make sure that you're, like they say, a lot of the best companies, they're flying the plane and building it in the air at the same time. I mean, I wouldn't really recommend that. I mean, you do have to have a lot of flexibility and adaptation, and things move very fast, but it's good to kind of complete step one before you go to step two. It doesn't mean that you have to be, compulsive about it. But make sure that your products are really good and that your systems are really good before you start inviting people in. Once you have the quality, then you have to develop mindshare. So how do you develop mindshare? I have a podcast entitled Learning is the New Doing. What it used to be is that we live in a world of action. If you don't have action, then you don't get anywhere. It has to be inspired action, because a lot of people are just spinning their wheels. Like that famous expression, never mistake activity for progress. So you don't want to just be spinning your wheels. And how do you make sure you're not spinning your wheels? You have to stop and think, and you have to learn. See, what happens is the world is so complex that the people that have a competitive advantage in learning can translate that into doing. See, a lot of people are just staying with what they know and working really hard at it, but they can't compete because we live in a world of exponentials, and we live in a world of convergence. And if you don't understand what you're doing at a high level in terms of paradigm shifts and what's going on in your industry and what's coming next, like Wayne Gretzky says, skate to where the puck is going, then you're so far behind. So mindshare really comes from being like a thought leader. Like that's why a lot of people have podcasts now. That's why social media is really big. But again, it's not the tools that you use, it's how you use them. I mean, you have to have great tools, and then you have to use them effectively, because a lot of people have the best tools in the world, but they mess them up because they don't use them effectively. So, become the kind of person that, has something important to say, and then develop your brand. Like have a podcast where you give out a lot of, free resources. Have a brand on social media where you're always giving people value. Gary Vaynerchuk says that you can't have too much, content in today's world, but it's quality content. A lot of people place Facebook ads, and they waste all their money because nobody converts, and they say Facebook doesn't work. Facebook doesn't work if you don't know what you're doing. Like Robert Kiyosaki famously says, he says a lot of his investing strategies, he goes on the media, and the media says, you can't do that, it's too risky. And what Robert Kiyosaki's response is that investing is not risky. He said it's the investor that's risky. He said any investment could be risky, no matter how simple it is, if you don't understand what you're doing. And a lot of investments that other people would be considered risky because they don't understand them are not risky if you're very advanced and you understand what you're doing. So it's the same thing with mindshare. Like, don't just put things out there, understand the value proposition, your sustainable competitive advantage, your target audience, and what they're looking for, and get that in order, and then start giving them, what they're looking for. Then you'll have the mind share advantage. When you have the mind share advantage, when people think of you top of mind, that's when they give you their business.